in the state. Thanks for coming in.
Of course. It's
Doing
been
the
a month, yeah.
media circuit Friday afternoons.
Yep, you were before this and now here.
In the studio, and lots of great stuff on EcoRI this week about environmental issues facing the state. An article of which you wrote, I want to kick off with.
You sound surprised.
Mashpog Pond here
Yes.
in Providence. The cleanup efforts for that. There's an event taking place tomorrow.
It's the final, bless you, final urban pond procession, the 10th and final. It's held tomorrow. It's going to start at 5:30, Alvarez High School area. But yeah, they've been celebrating it for 10 years, the pond. The pond's a mess. It's polluted. You can't fish. You can't touch it. But the UPP Arts and the community is kind of, let's rally around this great resource that's been used and abused, and how can we educate people about why it became that way, the people that used to live in the neighborhoods around, the people that do now. So it's a great event. It's obviously fun. They have the big nozzle puppets and the What Cheer Band and I'm going to get the name wrong, the Extraordinary, I always get the Extraordinary Rendition Band, whatever, they're awesome. So it'll be fun, and it's a celebration rather than a protest, so that's kind of refreshing. I'm actually writing about something positive.
Why is it so celebrated? Is it just the role that it plays in the community, and then again the awareness to, talk a little bit about the efforts? I mean, just cleanup efforts around the pond.
Yeah, I think it was started as a celebration. It was done by artists. Holly Ewald started it in the community. It was a bunch of artists and local activists and stuff, and I think you can protest and whine that the pond's been abused, and it has, and it's true. But they wanted to do something that can suck the morale out of people. They want to do something. Hey, let's go and let's get the community around it. So they've done that. Where Alvarez High School was built on a brownfield, and it was built before it was all remediated. It's all remediated now. A cove on that side of the pond has been remediated. It's all work done there. But the other side of the pond is the Huntington Industrial Expressway, Industrial Park, whatever the name is for it, and that's acres and acres of impervious surface and concrete and asphalt and all the stormwater coming into it. So that's another problem that they have to deal with. But let's not whine about it. Let's go there and celebrate
And keep moving forward. And you say 10th and final.
Yeah, it's changing. UPP Arts is kind of disbanding. They're going to archive all the physical, and they have like 70 oral histories of people that live in the community or have lived in the community, and they're going to archive all that and put it in the Providence Public Library. But 10 years of doing that is burned you out.
It's a long time.
Now it's like the community's going to, the Reservoir Triangle Association's kind of been revived, and they're going to take on some of that work.
And you'll continue to cover it, and you'll continue to write about it?
Absolutely.
Didn't you mention in your article free food?
Free food. There is free food there tomorrow. So
5:30.
5:30
and
starts.
Where specifically is, do you know? Or should you go to EcoRI to check out the exact...
Yeah, you'll have to, because we have a map on the thing. I don't remember, but it starts at 5:30. It's a mile-long procession. It ends around 9 with a finale and talks and speakers and entertainment. So it'll be fun. And it's free.
Okay, it's fun, it's free food, and for a good cause, again, celebrating the environment here in the inner city in Providence, Mashpog Pond. Frank wrote that article. You can check it out on EcoRI.
So it's wonderful.
So of course it's wonderful.
Of course.
It's Frank. One of the other things you guys wrote about this week, very interesting, CRMC approval for 2 new piers.
Yeah, Tim wrote that. It's not as interesting.
It's not as interesting.
Yes, they
But
did.
Rocky Point and... We're shooters, essentially.
Yep, shooters site. Yeah, there's been piers that are going to be built. Well, the Rocky Point one is farther along in the stage, so that one's been designed and everything, and that's going to be built there. There's a Rocky Point pier that's been there for a long time, but it's been falling apart. They're going to make a new pier and new docking area that will allow ferries to come in, even though there's no ferries planned at the moment. It's just a way to activate. Is that the word that all the state house people use? And so activate the area. And
it's like flipping a switch.
Exactly. And same with shooters. It's farther behind on staging, but there's plans for the central market there that Dave Dedekian's doing with Rhode Island Food, and that again would activate that space. So it's a good idea. It's a matter of it's a great idea, and it's great to get the public involved and celebrate our water resources and great things. But it's also how are we going to figure out that. Do we budget for the maintenance of these things like we don't for many of some
Okay,
other things?
so I was going to ask you, as an ardent environmentalist, kind of what concerns might you have? Take Rocky Point, for example. As you said, a pier's been there for a while. And that
fell apart because we didn't maintain it.
Any concerns about having more ferry activity? What are you going to be looking towards as they're looking to rebuild that there at Rocky Point?
Oh, I don't have any concerns about the ferries or boating. I mean, another way of modes of public transportation, if they even do that. But it's more about are we going to maintain this? We have the funding to maintain it. We all have these great grandiose ideas, and 10 years down the road, oh, we don't have any money to keep it, and it just starts falling apart.
So that's
what
the
we do
biggest
all the time.
concern.
And that's more or less
Don't
environmental.
build it
than
and
it's-
then
right,
let it
forget
go.
about it, exactly, which we do a lot, too often.
That happens here in the state. Any more hurdles to go through for the peers? I mean, the CRMC part of it just kind of conjures images of literal red tape. So, or they both seem to be off to the
They
races.
seem to be off the race. There's a couple more things that CRMC has to approve. Just if the design is right, they'll approve it.
Okay.
Nobody at CRMC is
Gonna stop the
right,
peers.
is not against this idea. Nobody that Tim talked to was against it. Just make sure you do it right.
Just go through, cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure these peers get approved and up and operational.
Yeah.
Again, check that article out on EcoRI. Okay, so this might be my favorite one this week because
Did I write
it? Was it you or Tim?
I don't know.
The food digester?
That was Tim's.
I just love a food digester. So this is to take scrap food and actually do something with it. I believe it was called an anaerobic.
It's an anaerobic digestion, and it's going to be built up, or it has been built. It'll go in operation next month, but up by the central landfill in Johnston. It's a step above landfilling it. It's not as good as actually using that food to actually feed people or feed farm animals, or at least compost it into soil. But anyway, it's better than burying it. It's using this resource that we've so far basically throw away 250 tons a day of food scrap into the landfill. So this will create the methane produced in this vat. You wouldn't want to fall in it. Will be used to generate electricity. We just hope the methane doesn't get out into the atmosphere. And also the sludge that's left over will be used as like a fertilizer amendment. I mean, it's a step in the right direction. We got to get the food waste and organic waste out of the landfill. But again, it's a step above, burying it. But it's a step in the right direction.
So from a usage standpoint, who's going to be providing the waste? Is it commercial, residential?
Commercial. It
Okay.
won't be residential, at least
At
to get
least-
like curbside composting or
Yes.
something, which that's not going to happen.
I was going to say that would be a big learning curve for just.
You can't even handle recycling yet. But anyway, yes, it would be commercial entities. There's a law that went into effect, you probably know, on January 1st, that anybody that's creates, I think it's 1 million tons a week, or they have to, if you have a facility within 15 miles, the only facility now will be that one that opens next month, and Earth Care Farm in Charlestown, you have to deliver your food scrap, organic material to that. So, and there's also other companies that just want to do the right thing, and instead of putting it in their dumpster, they're going to, they get it collected by the compost plant or something, that goes to Earth Care. But there might be other companies that, hey, I'll pick up my food scrap and let it at least go to something useful.
A digester. I just love the name of it.
Anaerobic digester.
And literally, so how is it, so, they put all the food there. I mean, how's the conduit to make it sort of turn over quicker? I mean, how does that process even work?
Well, it's not like composting because there's no air involved, so there's no life in there. It's just a matter of just recreating gas. It's like they would at the landfill. If you buried it, that's why they have all the, the natural gas, whatever, methane gas pipes that come out. It's just going to create methane, which they're going to use to create electricity. It's not going to be like a composting where they have to turn it over. You just dump it in there, it rots by whatever process, scientific
But
process.
this is all about the gas. This is all about
It's
the
all about
methane.
the gas, and if that's great, as long as it's not getting out into the atmosphere, then we have a problem. But if
Well,
we
how
use
much of a problem is that?
yeah, methane's the most powerful greenhouse gas, or more powerful than carbon dioxide, that is, and it's a powerful greenhouse gas. So if all that escaped from that digester, which technically it wouldn't, but we see all the
Has that
natural
happened?
gas
I mean, there's
leaks.
got to be other digesters around the country. Do we know of anything?
I'm sure
or-
they leak. I mean, they leak. Our natural gas infrastructure leaks all the time,
We've
so
seen-
of
we've
course
seen
it does.
Some leaky wheels and the natural gas infrastructure here.
Exactly.
In
So it's not to
recent
say,
weeks.
not to say that we shouldn't be doing it. We should be, and it's just, like I said, a step in the right direction. But it's not the panacea for saving the environment or climate change.
So when we were talking about this, you kind of made a little aside about recycling, how good or not good of a job that Rhode Island does. The Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation always seems to be embarking on education campaigns to try to help people recycle better, more efficiently, in a manner of which that will benefit the state, but always seems to be involved with these education campaigns. Are they constantly behind the 8 ball with the average person either knowing how to recycle or how to recycle correctly? Now, of course, I'm going into the broader sense here, moving away from food scraps, but you kind of made that little aside that I can't not jump on that little tidbit.
No, I don't think. Well, it's not Rhode Island Resource Recovery. They're doing the best they can.
Yeah.
It's society just doesn't care. We don't take it. Not enough people think about it. And again, I don't think recycling is the panacea for things too, but it's better than putting in a landfill. But we have laws that businesses have to recycle, and never been enforced ever since it went on the books in the late '80s, early '90s. I don't remember, but a while ago, we've never.
I was gonna.
I'm not saying we should shut down businesses because they're not recycling, but it's not enforced, so who cares?
Why
Nobody's
did
going
it
to do it.
pass? Was that broadly reaching? Was that small to large? Was there a size
Any
component to
business.
it? Any business.
Any business.
There was a law in place that they were going to have to recycle and hasn't been
For
enforced.
never been, not once has any business been fined. Again, I'm not saying let's go out and find all these businesses that aren't recycling. I'm not saying that
But
at all.
why are we passing?
Right, a law that let's enforce it, or let's get people to do it. So if nobody's being held accountable, then why are they going to do it? And it's not a simple thing either if you have a small business and you have a small place and 2 dumpsters and stuff. But ultimately, you would save money because you'd be tipping your trash dumpster where you're paying for tipping fees less. So you'd save money in the long run, but we don't even worry about that. And then we don't, society just doesn't think
doesn't care.
recycling or whatever. We just waste too much consumerism. Not that I'm trying to get preachy or anything, but
But you are the editor of EcoRI. I would expect you to get preachy and explain to folks why it's necessary to take care of the environment and recycle correctly.
yeah, it's not hard. I can do it. Anybody can do it.
So what's on your plate in the coming week with what's on your environmental plate in the coming week, Frank?
I don't want to give away all our secrets, but
I like teasers.
like again, I've told you with
Teaser.
Tim, I have no idea. I get stories when he files them. I know he's working hard. I don't know what he's doing. Me personally, I get one more of the Narragansett Bay report story to do, and this story isn't anything earth-shattering, but it's kind of cool. There's June 3rd at the Stitchery. It's a new business in Portsmouth where I just happened to move.
The Stitchery?
It's Stitchery, it's called. It's basically these 2 women that, sew and knit and things I don't understand that I'd hurt myself doing, but they're having an event June 3rd. It's a Saturday. I think it's 1 to 4. I just posted the story before I came in, but where you can bring an old T-shirt and they'll show you how to turn it into a reusable bag, because Aquidneck Island's kind of 2 out of the 3 communities have passed a bag ban, and Portsmouth hasn't yet voted on theirs. So they kind of want to get everybody ready for the bag ban that's coming this fall. So it's kind of cool that, hey, it's way helping the environment. It's a local business, local women doing good, and a skill that I never had. Even though
Are you gonna go? You gonna take a T-shirt and turn it into a reusable bag?
I'm hoping. I don't
Come
know if
on,
I'll be able
Frank.
to. I'm going to go, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I'd probably break the machines or cut my finger. But yes.
No, I want you to do a live from there. I want to see video proof of you doing this. But it
Once
sounds like
they see me trying to do something, they're not going to let me near the sewing machine.
Sounds like a great event. And will you be at Matchbox tomorrow night?
That's the plan. I'm hoping.
Okay, tomorrow night. So much going on. I always appreciate being able to come into studio on your Media Friday afternoon tour.
Of course.
Glad to be a stop on here because important work bringing major environmental issues to readers on ecori.org. Check them out. Of course, tune in on Friday afternoons after we talk about who's hot or who's not. We talk about all things environmental. So Frank Carini, I appreciate it.
Have a good weekend.
Okay.